hopefully this is the case, actually, inside the songs that we sing and the messages that we proclaim and the Bible studies and the small groups, we are not where we are inside of our faith, good or bad, because we haven't heard enough about the cross and the resurrection. It's everywhere, right? If you look at most of the songs that we sing, the gospel is contained there. There's a mention to blood or his sacrifice or the cross or what he's done for us. We hear the term resurrection or new life or eternity. It's not for lack of knowing. And I think sometimes it gets difficult on Easter Sunday. Maybe not difficult. Maybe it's easy just to remember and to affirm what we already know to be true. But sometimes it's difficult, or there's a temptation when you're in this seat to say, how can I tell the story in some new way? How do I give you something that you've never heard before, or say something about the story that's never been said? And the reality is you should probably be suspicious if that was the case, because there's nothing that you could add to or change what has already been recorded for us inside of Scripture. But instead, I want to ask you to do something if you can. And I don't even know if this is possible, but we're going to try it anyway. If you could strip away what you know to be true for a moment and put yourself back on Palm Sunday, where Jesus is proclaimed as king and hailed as he walks into the streets of Jerusalem, that we're reminded then that he is King of Kings and Lord of Lords, that he has authority, that he is in very nature God himself. He's the long-awaited Messiah. You move then in throughout the week and you get to Thursday. And Thursday, Jesus tries as best as he can to prepare his disciples for what he can't possibly prepare them for. He knows that what he's going to tell them will eventually kind of come back around and make sense, but it doesn't make a whole lot of sense in the moment. That evening, he's betrayed, and he's turned in to the Jewish leaders, who then bring the Roman government in and say, something needs to be done about this man. And in a series of a mockery of trial, where there's like 6 different times that they try to accuse him, finally, the verdict is given: he should be crucified, sentenced to death. Friday comes and he hangs on a cross. And there, as a spectacle for all the world to see, where the most vile of criminals are. This is not something for people who made a mistake or didn't pay their speeding ticket or, just had a little bit of trouble. This is for the worst of the worst. And there he hangs. And then there's nothing. Literally, there's nothing from late Friday afternoon into Friday evening, and Saturday morning, and Saturday afternoon, and Saturday evening. There's nothing. If you're looking for a fanfare, it is not on Easter Sunday morning. In fact, the greatest spectacle or, cosmic events took place on Friday afternoon. The temple veil is torn in two. There's an earthquake. Scripture says the tombs open and dead people rise up and walk around the city. Crazy things happen on Friday. Darkness comes over the land. But then there's nothing. Friday, into Saturday evening. We turn the page to Sunday, and for us, it is church day. Of course, this is Jesus' day. Of course, they would expect something, but Sunday in the ancient world was the start of the new week. The Sabbath had just ended. And the Sabbath, after a holiday weekend, Passover has taken place. All sorts of people have come into Jerusalem. Now it's Monday. It's time for things to get back to the way they're supposed to be. It feels like a Monday if we were there. Sunday morning, there's no volcanic activity. I know we like to think on Easter Sunday the sun rises and shines brightly and wakes up everybody in Jerusalem, but it is just like any other day. I think we have to start there because that's where the disciples start. It's impossible for us. We know the story. We know what to expect. We've already sung the songs. We know the reality, but just hold on for a minute and go back and sit down in the middle of where you would be if you had spent 3 years with somebody. You'd seen miracles. You saw a little bag lunch turn into a catering dinner for 10,000 people. You saw one of your friends walk on water just because he said that they could. You left everything, family, career, homes, the future that you thought that you were going to have since you were a boy till now. You watched your best friend arrested, beaten, and killed. You watched the one that you had put all of your hopes as the great CEO, that you were going to ride his coattails into this new and glorious thing. It now goes bankrupt. That's the feeling of Sunday morning. I don't know if it's possible for us to go back and put ourselves there in that situation, but I think we should try, because otherwise sometimes it just becomes so easy and so religious and just so nice to say, He's risen indeed, He's alive, and not think about what that meant and what happens when we are truly surprised by hope, overwhelmed by grace, and overtaken by life.